Mortal Kombat! Oh my, coronavirus. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video on my thoughts on movies and stuff. Today's video is on Mortal Kombat! And normally I'd save this part at the end for the monologue, but I want to say it right now. If you couldn't tell, I love Mortal Kombat. I'm a little bit of a casual gamer myself, and I play a lot of fighting games. Though Mortal Kombat will always have a special place in my heart. I've literally been playing Mortal Kombat ever since I can remember. It's one of the first games I ever played. I remember being a snot-nosed little kid getting my butt handed to me by my older brothers, yet to this day I still cannot get enough of that game. And I have always loved Liu Kang. He is still my favorite character to this day. I've always adored how Midway created him and how he fought and how he can shoot fire out of his hands. During the time in the video game canon where he essentially gets murdered and is dead and isn't a playable character, I was very upset. I almost started a fire. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm just putting that out there so you can understand just how hyped I got for this film. So let me talk less about myself and more about the movie. Mortal Kombat follows the story of Cole Young, a failing MMA fighter, and how he gets swept up in a battle to save the universe while fighting alongside Earth's mightiest heroes, the Z Fighters. I mean, the champions of Earthrealm chosen to take part in the next Mortal Kombat tournament. Guy 1 and Guy 2 have so much to say about this movie, but before we get into that, why don't you go ahead and hit that big red button. Yeah, that's right, subscribe. We're trying to hit a goal of about 1,000 subscribers and we're almost halfway there, so we'd really appreciate it if you subscribed and shared this video with your friends so they can subscribe as well. Don't forget to hit the bell to be notified about every time we upload. And if you'd like to show some more support, gee, thank you, bless your heart, then you should become a bro by becoming a patron. Patrons get early access, behind the scenes content, and all sorts of other perks. So come on down to our Patreon and let us hold $1. All done? Great. On with the show. Mortal Kombat! Okay, wait. Okay, wait. We actually have to talk about it this time. We can't get distracted again. Good point. It was just so good. So good. But there's things I'm not happy with. Of course not. What's that supposed to mean? 1, you're never happy with anything. 2, it's a movie based on a video game. It's bound to be a little disappointing. Remember Street Fighter, remember Dead or Alive, and let's not forget the Tekken live action movie. Oh God, don't even bring that monstrosity to mind. I'm just saying, movies based on video games can be very difficult. Especially games like Mortal Kombat. But let me guess, you're still gonna split hairs. I'm gonna split all the hairs, bro. Yeah, of course you are. Alright, go on, pitter patter. The Lin Kuei don't wear full face masks. I agree. Well, of course Wait, what? Yeah, it was weird. It was like watching Hisashi kill cartoonish witch doctors. I did not expect you to agree so easily. Alright, well why does Bihan want to kill Hisashi so bad? They don't give us any explanation as to why he has to eradicate the Shirai Ryu. I know, right? There's got to be some sort of explanation behind the genocide. I mean, otherwise what are we even doing here? This is weird. Why do you keep agreeing with me? I just feel the same way. Relax, dude. I'm watching you. Anyways, why is Sonya living in such a terrible house? Is she meant to be trailer trash? Yeah, I didn't like that either. Sonya living in squalor? No. I mean, we both know that America doesn't pay its troops in buckets, though. I'm sorry, are you sick?
Are you alright? Are you feeling okay?
I'm fine, dude. Jeez.
You're starting to freak me out.
You're freaking me out with all of your agreeing. Creep. Gosh. Well, what about Kano? Kano was so funny. Like, really funny. I'm surprised at how funny he was. The entire cinema was like in stitches. Finally. Something we don't agree on. Oof. You don't think he was funny? Oh, he was hilarious. But he's not meant to be. Kano isn't comic relief. He's a bad man. Black Dragon Crew is not a joke. Kano is not a joke. He's not meant to be that funny. It's not as if Kano isn't a little bit of a joker in the video games. And besides, they got what's most important. The beef between Kano and Sonya. That was cool. I like that they established a beef between Kano and Sonya, but his humor just threw me off. I want to be slightly scared of Kano, you know? Like, just a little bit terrified of what he's going to do to her and her friends. I think you're being unreasonable. Somebody has to hold them accountable. Also, what's up with all the random dunes? Especially in Outworld. It's like, there's meant to be buildings there. At some point they were just walking through some random black sandy pit. Why? Well, maybe they... Yeah, I have no idea what they were trying to do with that. All of those sandy dunes, it must have been terrible to film. And Raiden's temple, why did he live in what I can only describe as like an underground... Don't even get me started on Raiden's temple. Why is it underground like that? Why did it look so cavey? No wonder why he can't find the fighters. He's too busy digging a tunnel before the hyenas come. Dig a tunnel, dig a tunnel, dig a tunnel, dig a tunnel. Dig a tunnel, dig a tunnel, dig before Sub-Zero comes. And speaking of Lightning Rick, where is he half the time? They break into his mystic bat cave and break his lightning stick, and he's nowhere to be found. I'm sure he had his reasons. Maybe he went to save some people. Also, why is he an asshole all the time? He didn't have a single nice thing to say about anyone. He might be the protector of Earthrealm, but he's definitely not the protector of your feelings. Maybe he let Shang Tsung break in so that the remaining fighters could find their Arcana and leave Earthrealm's chance at survival unsupervised? That's just irresponsible. That's terrible babysitting. Also, I'm glad that we finally got this. What was all of that Arcana nonsense? They needed to find a way to justify the things you see in the video games. Otherwise, how else do they explain how Liu Kang can shoot fireballs out of his hands and how Kung Lao can teleport? By doing what Mortal Kombat has always done. It's always had an explanation. Sonya doesn't need to pine over some very questionable skin rash just so that she can use her powers, because in the video games, it's always been explained to be very advanced weaponry. Maybe they just thought Arcanas made more sense. Well, they were wrong. What did you think of Cole? I think he was an interesting addition to the Mortal Kombat roster. I couldn't really embrace him. I'm not happy that they replaced Liu Kang as the main protagonist of the Mortal Kombat story, but I am happy that they included an MMA fighter. True. And we only got to see one MMA-styled fight. I mean, Cole is an MMA fighter, but we don't get to see him do any ground and pound, no clinch control. Yes, the last fight happens to be in a cage, but that's really just more about relevance to his character than anything. And his Arcana was weird. I have no idea what's going on there either. I guess his Arcana is that he can grow armor out of friendship bracelets? Maybe. It's the same thing with Jax. Look, I don't know why the monks are performing bionic surgery, nor do I know why they attached those puny little metallic tubes to what was left of his arms. But when they transformed into those large, glorious machinations, those gears of war, what exactly is his Arcana then? I have no idea, dude. Maybe his Arcana isn't enhanced strength and it's more along the lines of manipulating technology. Like Cyborg. So many unanswered questions. But it can't be all bad. Yes, it's not perfect, but it's the reboot that those movies needed. And
some of it was really spot on. Like, did you see how they did Reptile?
Oh, he looked amazing. The special effects are definitely a step up from its predecessors. And that opening fight scene, watching Bihan slaughter the Shirai-Ryu on the big screen, give me chills.
I see what you did there.
And Scorpion Spear, a thing of beauty. Hisashi Hanzo is a beast both in and out the game. And casting Hiroyuki Sanada as Scorpion, just genius. I also greatly loved how Sub-Zero and Scorpion got 2 rounds, like a classic Mortal Kombat fight. I was a little disappointed when Liu Kang didn't use Jeet Kune Do and got his ass handed to him in almost every fight. Especially after we got to see Kung Lao use Wing Chun. But bruh, that fatality he did on Nitara, oh my god! That was awesome! I love that they incorporated moves and fatalities from the video game. He literally cut her in half with his saw hat. It was, the blood, the gore, the guts. It was classic Mortal Kombat. The only thing that was missing was a controller in my hand.
Flawless victory.
Such a good time. Every fight was like pretty good. You know, all things considered, I think we can call it a success. Me too. They absolutely wasted Nitara though. But I don't know guys, what do you think? Was Mortal Kombat the movie, the video games, finally deserved? Or was it a flawless failure? I know I definitely had a great time. Yes, there were things that I'm not exactly happy with, but I feel like no real fan of the Mortal Kombat video games will be. That being said though, I don't think that makes it a bad film. I do have to say though, there are times where it feels like the story takes a backseat to the fighting, and sometimes the dialogue can feel unnatural or groundless. After being attacked by Sub-Zero, Cole then goes home, sits down with his nuclear family, and has a very casual conversation about how he's going to go on a road trip to find some woman he's never met before at an address he heard once under a very high-stress life-or-death situation. Maybe it's me, but that they just talked about that so easily felt kind of weird to me. And Cole is meant to be this down-and-out fighter who can't find his mojo, yet somehow he defeated Goro. Prince Goro. Goro, the easily over 7 foot tall, 4-armed beast who is notorious for ripping off people's limbs and tearing them in half at the waist. Cole somehow beat this guy first try. I do feel like the camera movement for some of the fight scenes should have been a little bit more stable. There are times where there are these cutaways that felt a little unnatural, especially with some of Sonya's fights, because there are moments where she's doing some sort of flip and you don't really get to see her land. She's going through the air at one moment and then in the next moment she's on her feet and throwing kicks or something. In fact, she does a lot of flipping in this movie and you never see her land, or there are moments where she's supposed to fall and she somehow just lands on her feet. I keep saying Sonya and I meant to say Sonya. Sonya. This pronunciation is actually very important and I'm sorry that I'm messing that up. It was funny to see Sonya essentially operating like a conspiracy theorist, finding all of this information and sticking it up on a board and drawing all these lines. I mean, she did kind of look crazy. That was funny. Though for the fact that she was operating out of her home is a clear sign that she doesn't have any sort of government funding or clearance for this mission. So that means that when she kidnapped Kano and tied her up in her home, she essentially committed a crime. Who's the real criminal here? Sonya or Kano? There's 2 more notes I have on the fight scenes. The first one is I didn't like how whenever they needed a set change or they needed to cut away to another fight, they'd kind of just throw someone into like the next room and yeah, no, this person would collide into pillars and walls and then they'd somehow get up fine. I know that this is Mortal Kombat, but if we're gonna be tossing people around, I'd like to see some sort of consequence to that. The second thing is that when they're using their arcanas and stuff, Kung Lao only uses his light powers once. You see him teleport into a scene and you never see him teleport again, and he gets murked by Shang Tsung because Shang Tsung grabs him by the throat and eats his soul, yet it's completely forgotten that this guy can teleport? Okay. Alright. There's also questions I have about the Mortal Kombat lore, which is kind of bread and butter to any Mortal Kombat story, that the movie has kind of just jumbled, so now I'm not entirely sure where we are. For example, since Melina is showing up, does that mean that Kitana is dead? Would Reiko show up just to die even though he's Shao Kahn's war general? And what is Shao Kahn? Is he like hiding under one of those outworld dunes maybe? Plenty of questions, very little answers, and for good reason. The director is gunning for a sequel, and I'm excited for that because I did enjoy this first film, so I hope they get a second one. Overall, the movie is a roller coaster of a flick, and it successfully pays homage to the original films in the 90s and several Mortal Kombat video games while still being its own standalone feature. It encapsulates all of the general things that make Mortal Kombat Mortal Kombat. And even though I might have a lot to say because I am a biased, starstruck fan, watching the movie in cinema, I was actually amazed. I was very happy, and yes, when I got down off the high, there were things that I wasn't happy with, but that doesn't mean I think that this is a bad film. And I know I said that in the opening of this monologue. It's really good. It's surprisingly good. It's something that you could watch even if you don't know anything about Mortal Kombat. Especially the fights between Sub-Zero and Scorpion. That's something to look forward to. They were amazing. They incorporated scenes from the video games. It was beautiful. Downright beautiful. IMDb gave this film a score of 7.1. Very impressive. It's still too early for a Rotten Tomatoes rating, but I'm going to go ahead and give this movie a 3.9 out of 5 because I had a really good time and it was done really well. Not enough for a 4, but really good. Like just missed it. But that's all from me, guys. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you want to kill this video and tear its spine out, give it an even bigger thumbs up. As I said earlier, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so that you're notified about every time we upload. After that, visit our Patreon and let us hold $1. The next video should be on Chaos Walking. I wanted to do a video on Chaos Walking for a long time now, and now that's gonna be a possibility. Don't ask me how. Until then, I will see you later, guys. Bye-bye.